Let's do it.
Hello and welcome back to the Remembering Tuscola webcast. I'm David Porter. Almost forgot my name. What's your name? This is Mike and Bill.
Mike and Bill.
Mike and Bill.
Carroll, Bill Englehart, two of Tuscola's finest, according to Mike and Bill.
Nice.
Yes, we just did a survey, and Becky's here, and the survey came out 66 2/3 agreed with that.
Yeah. Yeah. We know
Two out
we're
of three. So Mike was having a little computer issue. You're talking about before we get to the pictures, you're talking about AI, and frankly, I'm a little concerned about AI. I really would hate to be a teacher today with AI available to my students, because how do you know that they wrote their report and it wasn't written by AI?
I've actually got a draft article on that, and I talk about all you can use chat box, you can use this. There's a million programs out there to write your article. They now have a program for teachers to see if there's plagiarism or if a computer wrote it. If you sign up for it, you can read. Now, my solution is to write like you and I write, which is off the wall, throwing words in, inventing words, incomplete sentences. I probably write like that more than you.
Yeah, it's just a little stream of consciousness. But
yeah, computer can't do that very well.
You were mentioning before we were on the air that Google has changed the way it responds to questions, and it comes up, instead of giving you the authoritative links that you want, it gives you a little summary that may or may not be accurate.
Well, I don't think AI is perfected. You said, let's go on the air. People may find this interesting. So Bill and I are skeptical, but we'll talk about it anyway. No, the article in the Wall Street Journal said that the current business model, when people go on Google to look up top 10 best actors or read about something or research something, I'll research what's the history of what's the research on the effectiveness of the COVID shot, for example. It takes you around places. You go here, there's even what's the encyclopedia called, Wikipedia, but all the time you're surfing, ads pop up,
right,
or on the right side or in the middle of it, and each ad is a revenue generator, and they're trying to get your attention as you're streaming this stuff. And so you can spend 5-10 minutes surfing an issue and see 50 ads. It's a real huge revenue stream. What they said was, with AI, they got new AI search engines, and I forget the name of them, was called Concurrence. I think it's a real small company. You ask it a scientific question like, what is the and by the way, when you ask about the efficacy of a COVID shot, you can go deeper and deeper, then it gets you into something deeper, and then you hit one of those that gets you deeper. It goes on forever. This thing will summarize everything ever written on the effectiveness of COVID shot within a half a second. It'll present you the 3 leading authoritative sites based on scientific consensus, and even say, here are the top 3 leading according to scientific consensus of 73.2%. It'll then summarize it in about a paragraph, and if you go further, it'll print you out a little thing. It all happens within 10 seconds. You've got the leading authority, documented, verified, assuming the AI is consensus, for example, does they're just scientific research, no social media, no games, no entertainment. And they have a huge panel of scientists on their board that review this stuff. So you're getting best practice or best thinking, and it pops up within literally a second or two. AI can compute data so quick. And the point is, how many ads can you get in there? And you can't get many in there. So it's going to totally upend the business model of the current computer. It's going to change so radically. There's a stock called NVIDIA that makes the AI chip. And last year it was $200, and this year a year later it's $700. I wish I should have sold the house and bought everything in NVIDIA. I think I've got 20 shares of NVIDIA, the hottest stock in the world, and I bought 20 shares. But anyway, its earnings report came out yesterday. Okay. And the stock was down to 600 and some bucks, thinking it might be below forecast. Their revenue increased 246% in the quarter. Their demand for their chip is just skyrocketing. They can't keep up with it. And all AI stock is accelerating. It's exploding.
Yeah.
All the money, when you read about the stock market exploding, when you read about this, it's basically Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, NVIDIA. It's basically tech. And the revolution's here. It's kind of like the software computer revolution, only this one's going to be even greater.
Right.
And everybody's talking about slowing down to make sure we master it and it doesn't make the human race obsolete, you know. Slow it down. Once the big bucks gets involved, it's over. The race is on.
You mentioned the list of like you asked a question about celebrities. So many of those lists are subjective clickbait,
Right.
and as they, someone puts an opinion piece, a blog on, and let's say it goes viral, gets a lot of hits. Well, that elevates it then in
Well,
those search engines.
I think that's going to be. I think the fluffiness of the social media is going to be there. I was talking about searching. I use Google to search.
Right, but some of that information is subjective, and it may be opinions from people who aren't qualified to answer the question. But if they get a lot of hits, first they have a large audience, they're an influencer of some type, then they get elevated, and then their opinion gets into the mainstream.
I don't go with the herd mentality. If I look up a medical question, for example, IMB Med, Johns Hopkins, there's 2 or 3 sites that are highly, I know, I'm not going to go to the other ones. I'm not going to go with the Bobby Kennedy conspiracy site,
right,
that vaccines cause autism. From usage and having a little bit of brain power, you can tell quality of information. You wrote a good book on it.
But if you are diligent, like you are, but I'm talking about more subjective stuff. Like if you ask it, like, who is the most successful actress of all time?
Right.
Well,
who's the greatest
that's
baseball
somewhat
player?
subjective. What criteria are you using? And
Well,
what I'm saying is you may end up with something high on the list that is not really valid because it went viral for somebody, or they had a large audience.
I never asked who's the greatest baseball. I know who I think it is. Why would I want to ask the world who they think the world's?
I'm just making conversation, Mike.
Oh, I know. I thought you said people would find this interesting, and I disagree with you.
No, but I mean, you had mentioned earlier something, a question like that. That's a subjective question. I think it can happen with less subjective when you talk about COVID. I mean, there are so many things on COVID. Now, if you've got a site that actually uses scientists and researchers and they are weighing in and they are manually, elevating things, but you've got a lot of stuff out there on COVID that just is not right at all, but has a huge following. And so on some of those sites, when you ask that question, some of that may pop up simply because a lot of people liked it, a lot of people viewed it. It's based more on the numbers than it is on the accuracy. How do they guarantee the accuracy of that information?
Sun came out.
Well,
you guys got distracted while I was talking.
I know, for example, Wikipedia is not a bad place to go for stuff. Some of the Wikipedia answers are really good. Some are really junk, but you double check, you just, and you.
Yeah, Wikipedia is, like in the newspaper business, we're taught don't use Wikipedia because it's not reliable. But in actuality, there's more mistakes, from what I have read, more mistakes in the Encyclopedia Britannica than there is in Wikipedia. But Wikipedia is user generated. Anybody can go on and make changes.
Wikipedia, years ago, Phil Deaver and I were talking. He says Tuscola has a Wikipedia site. I read about it, and it talked about the history of Black people in Tuscola. I thought, who wrote this? Because anybody can make a contribution to Wikipedia, and other people can criticize it. He said Gary Forster wrote that, put that in there. I said, that's Gary Forster, who is super liberal, and he went off on this tangent about racism in Tuscola or whatever. So yeah, I understand Wikipedia, but I'm just saying you wrote a book one time. I just was showing it to Becky on news literacy.
Right.
And I think that I hope they teach kids how to critically think, because critically thinking will eventually lead you to reliability. And just like when you hear people on TV, if you watch Fox News, just for example, it's conservative, but within Fox News, you have people that are just Trump acolytes, like Laura Ingraham and who's the worst one? Hannity. They just have no credibility.
Right.
But Brett Baer has about 80% credibility, and then Brett Hume has about 99% credibility, because he'll come out and say that was a good thing of Biden. That's a horrible thing Trump did. He acquires objectivity, and his answers resonate. They're backed up by science. So you just have to learn how to evaluate information. I'm just saying AI is going to take the problem with all of internet and actually the world of knowledge and information is the explosion of data. The explosion of data is everywhere. And how do you manage it? How do you corral it? How do you categorize it? How do you get high quality, low quality? And what I'm saying is AI is going to come in there and have the ability to capture large data. That's why they think AI is going to replace largely white collar jobs. Already it's replacing white collar editors of big newspapers. They've had lawyers and doctors. They have an AI program for skin cancer, for example, that's got every whatever. You can take a picture of a lesion on your scalp and AI will identify it in 1 second. They sent it to about 2,000 oncologists and they had about 85% accuracy. The AI program was more accurate, and it's right then. As a lawyer, I handled big data. Somebody come into me with an auto wreck or divorce. I had to scan all the cases on law and divorce. I had to know what judge I'm in front of, what county. I have to know what his prejudices are, his tendencies. I have to know who the other lawyer is, how good he is, bad he is. It's manipulation of all this tremendous data. And I've got to convert it to a strategy to maximize my client's chance of winning. With AI, you put in all the raw data and it spits out the strategy. I mean, it could replace me in a second. It would lack my humor and good looks, but so it's going to change the world, David, I think.
Can it teach first grade math?
They can't do this podcast. Yeah, Bill. Yeah, I don't know why I don't know what teachers are doing nowadays. I don't know what kind of skill. I think they ought to teach. I think we can get into education real quick. I think they ought to teach kids how to survive in the world and thrive, number one. And number two, how to critically and independently think on their feet.
That would be nice.
And not follow the herd.
Yes.
Well, it's been coming a long time. You're preaching to the choir. The country has lost 25% of its journalists in the last 10 years. So I feel fortunate to still be working.
Well, we're watching the News Gazette slowly atrophy. Great big huge building downtown, printing press. They sold their press, then they sold this beautiful great big building. Now they're renting a place down on Fox Drive. Now they're not delivering mail to mail. They don't want to go digital. They know that's the future. They're fighting against it, but I just think it's all changed. That's the power of economics. And as AI, what I'm saying is AI power will come from economics. It'll be so much cheaper, you can envision a day where you wear a watch, and it's the back of it is somehow reading your blood, and the AI is automatically analyzing it, and telling you what's going on.
Will it help you make a putt?
AI will not. What AI cannot do, I heard a guy say this on Charlie Rose years ago. This is interesting. AI deals with big data, and the job threats are in white collar jobs that deal with big data, assessment of risk, how to set actuary tables for insurance, how to calculate cost. Lawyers, doctors who deal with big data, complex data. What it can't do, they said, they're having tremendous difficulty getting a robot programmed with artificial intelligence to reach around a corner and torque a screw just hard enough to get it nice and tight. They don't know how to do these manual things.
This is a toilet.
They can't put an HVAC system in your house.
No, but there are certainly plenty of robotic manufacturers they can build a car.
Well, but that's a repetitive, it lines up and does one thing. It drives a rivet. It drives a
Right.
rivet. I'm talking about something coming into your house, walking around and tightening your screws and taking your toilet out and fixing the wax ring and putting it back in. That is extremely complex. They haven't got robots to do that.
Well, and
And
that's
so I'm telling everybody, become a plumber. You're gonna have
good money in it.
where's the job security in the future? Like you're talking about newspapers disappearing. Look at what AI and robotics, and we're not even talking about quantum computing yet. That's going to just totally change everything, even more than AI. What's the role for humans? I heard somebody say one time, well, we'll all be poets and artists.
I think there certainly will be,
we'll write our life stories to each other.
it's not going to do landscaping. It's not going to dig the trench and plant the bushes, but it will, you can use a laser level. You can use a program to design what it will look like. Still going to take humans to implement.
I don't think I agree with
that's-
you, but nobody really knows where it's all going to go. I mean, you really don't know.
No.
There could be Arnold Schwarzenegger out there, the Terminator. You look just like a human. I mean, you just look at just extend the trajectory of it. A lot of the science fiction stuff has it right,
Well, if you need to know something, Mike, you don't worry about AI. You just call me and ask me,
I do.
and
I do.
I'll give you the answer.
Every time I read the newspaper, I always read your news literacy first.
Yeah.
That was a very good publication. You ought to reissue that seriously and offer it out to the school or something, or even maybe teach a course for free on it.
It was sent to every high school in the state,
Oh, it was? Okay.
whether they chose to use it or not.
My guess is they didn't jump on it.
Nobody's called me on the phone asking me to, come speak to the class or anything like that.
But isn't that an important skill every kid should know? How do you assess?
Absolutely.
How do you assess information that you hear on the news or see on the computer?
And I know I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but my primary point in the whole issue of news literacy is personal responsibility. You are responsible for the news that you consume.
Mhm.
And it's up to you to do a little research, check your facts, check your sources, consult multiple sources, look at things you don't agree with.
Right.
Don't just go to something, you mentioned Fox and Fox, I trust Fox probably more than I trust Huffington Post. I've seen stuff on Fox that I thought was really good, but you have to be skeptical and you have to do your research and you don't just, if you're only looking at Fox, you're only going to get one perspective for the most part.
Yeah.
You need to.
I agree. When you see a presidential debate, I listen to Fox analysis and I go over and listen to CNN analysis.
Much different, aren't they?
Now Fox is talking about how somebody hid out of the room and you go over to CNN said that guy's a fascist buffoon. You go, well, somewhere in there lies
Yeah,
I take the
there's a difference.
I read and I read the Wall Street Journal, which is not it's not Freedom Caucus conservative. It's the old mainline Reagan business model or pro-business,
Right.
Rockefeller Republicanism, Ripon Society. But I also would take the New Yorker magazine, and I digitally take the New York Times, and I often get really furious at the editorial comments in the New Yorker. But I'm reading what a vast majority of people out on the East Coast believe in, the liberal elites. I know what they're thinking, and it is difficult sometimes to parse it. It does boil down to judgment, but I'm at least hearing what everybody's saying.
I start with the Associated Press, and I get really mad when I'm reading an Associated Press article and I'm spotting opinion.
Yeah, instead of fact.
It's not a lot, but it's, you can see it, and you have to be able to recognize when something is an opinion and not a fact.
Well, whatever Bill says is a fact.
It's the sun's coming out again.
And
Yeah.
Bill said that
All right.
Bill said in basketball they need to bench Hawkins until he gets his head screwed on right.
That's what I would have done.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
okay.
that's a fact.
Oh boy.
You ready to get to some pictures?
Well, why don't you just hit her out of the park on the first one?
I wish I
Okay,
was young again.
slide that just a little bit, just a touch. The second girl in is a Foltz, I think. Wasn't that a
Rosie?
Rosie Foltz?
What's that say? Miss?
Toggery?
I think these are names of businesses
Matinee
that
store.
sponsor
These are
them.
Tuscola.
Oh, these are
girl.
Tuscola stores.
Yeah, Mitchell's, Matinees, Ben
That's
Franklin.
Yeah, that's Rosie Foltz, I think. And who do you think, Bill?
That almost looks like a Snyder, but and no, it can't be.
This looks like about 5960 stuff here. Miss Smith.
I think it's before that.
Could be 55-ish.
Boy, if swimsuits changed.
Yeah, they have. Well,
Hey, Becky. Could you close that just a little bit. This is kind of bright.
That's Ruby Caldwell.
That's Joe Caldwell's mother, Ruby Caldwell, the very first Miss Tuscola.
on the right.
On the right in the gown. You got any names here? You got any names on the first one? You could
That's
help me?
the only one that I had.
Was Mrs. Caldwell?
Or Rosie Foltz?
Yeah, Mrs. Caldwell.
Okay.
Not Rosie. That's a tall drink of water.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll
I
get
don't
back to my.
Yeah, you're really getting some. This might be about 55.
Oops,
That's Dave Porter.
I lost it.
Well, AI switched it over.
AI's taking over. Okay, there's Ruby crowning. The girl looks familiar. That's the old Northward stage, isn't it? Back there is all the supplies.
Yeah, behind the curtain. I don't know who the MC is. Eli Murphy.
AG as Mr. Edwards,
Yeah.
the bank.
Again, that's the only name I had was Mrs. Caldwell.
That's Mrs. Caldwell.
Yeah. She worked out at the well, let's see where we're at now. That's looking north.
Mel's Drive-In.
Mel's Drive-In looking north at Headinger's
There's Headinger's.
and the old Marathon station.
The Marathon was Bus Martin's station for a while.
And the car looks like about a 58 Chevy. What is that?
I don't know.
But that used to be that building was Gernon's.
Drive-In.
Gernon's Drive-In, Mel's Drive-In.
That was in the 60s. That was the place to be on a Saturday night, driving through there.
On the east side is where the parking was.
Parking was.
And you would loop around that.
That's right.
In the 50s. Actually, by the 60s, the spot became Dairy Queen.
American Graffiti.
That was American Graffiti right there.
It wasn't Dairy Queen.
In the middle 60s, by your senior year. Yeah, Brewer and I used to drive through there.
God, that guy looks familiar.
Well, this looks like it's at True Value to me, but
Yeah, he's got a True Value. What's that on his shirt? Can you see it on his shirt?
yeah, True Value.
Yeah. Well,
But I don't know
one of Jim Higgins' employees.
Yeah. I have to ask Jim.
There's is that Andy Ron on the right?
That's George
Hillard,
Hillard,
excuse me.
and
That's his dad.
that's Barbara's dad.
That's Tay,
Tay.
Mr. Tay.
Yeah, Leonard Tay.
Leonard Tay was married to Thelma, but that's not Thelma, I don't
That's
think.
not Thelma Tay.
Look at George, head of hair.
I'll be darned.
Well, George died about a year ago. George
Yeah.
was one of the nicest guys.
Yeah, swell person.
Great insurance
And
agent.
I'll tell you, Leonard Tay was one good guy too.
Now, Thelma was famous for, she's one of those local icons. She was famous for telling you exactly the way it was. I remember being an IGA one time. I think I'd gained a little bit of weight. I was about 365, I think.
Was that Leon's mother though? Sister.
Leon's mother
Thelma.
is a sister to Thelma Tay.
Yeah.
Comments are saying they think it's Doris McDaniel.
Could be. Anyway, I'm in line at the old IGA and Furco's, and Thelma yells from about 100 yards away with people all around, says, "My God, Mike, you're getting as fat as Homer." I said, "Nice to see you, Thelma." Back in those days.
Doug Dunn says it's Opal McDaniel.
Well, that's Kurt McDaniel's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Opal is Kurt McDaniel's mom. The other one, yeah, that could be Opal. Oh, George looked good and young there. Villa Grove boy.
Well, he was young.
There's Higgins on the left.
If it's Higgins.
I think that's Jim
Hold
Higgins.
on.
I think that's Higgins.
Now, I'm going to throw a wrench into this. That's Jerry Malady on the
Okay.
left.
Bill and I,
This is at FS.
we have to go to
See this? And that's old Ron, Mr. Ron.
work there.
Yeah,
You think that's Jerry Malady?
that's
Okay.
Jerry Malady. up
Ron
on
Rome
top.
said Jerry Malady and Walt Ron.
Walt Ron.
I switched my vote to Jerry Malady.
Give me credit for that one.
I did. I
Yeah, that's good.
I told you you're good. There's
Oh, we know those
Roy
two.
Hopkins on the left. Our town police chief Tommy Harris,
Earl Pendergrass in the plaid coat.
Earl the Pearl.
Yeah,
And we should know the gals.
we should, but I don't.
That's the old First National Bank. Now it's the Vault.
This gal in front of Harris looks familiar, though.
That's not Judy. No, that's not Judy.
No, it's Judy Short. You're thinking
Daniels?
of no.
Look at Earl Pearl's sports coat. That thing was battery operated.
Roy Hopkins was a greeter at the bank.
Yeah.
Best job in the world.
They kept Roy on. Roy had connections with all of the elderly widows, and there were big CDs. He was invaluable for keeping the CDs.
Mm-hmm.
Hallie was a teacher. Oh, I know all those, but I'll let you have them.
Thanks. I can't tell you who they are.
Well, they're the Girl Scout troop.
Well, really, I got it. But I don't know the young ladies.
Got any names?
I got a lot of comments. Nicole Usheckles says Jennifer Bender, second from left. And Jennifer Bender says, "Yep, that's me, fourth grade, I think."
I'll be darned. That's Jennifer Bennett was her maiden name. Tom Bennett's wife, or daughter.
Tom's in prison now.
Yeah.
Darla Pickett tagged Kim Ray Christine. Jennifer Bender says
Kim
Jody
Ray.
Huber next to Kim behind the flag.
Who?
Jody Huber. Jody Baxter is her married name, apparently.
Where's Kim Ray at?
This is Kim Ray.
Oh, Kim Ray on the right.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking
And,
Del Ray. Del Ray's.
Son was a good baseball player.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, that's the American flag.
Yeah.
I gotta get them right. And looks like the old community building floor.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of comments. I think those were the names that we had.
That's good. Oh, boy. That is,
The House of H.
yeah, that's, what's her name? Mrs. H.
Mrs. H. That's Mrs. H.
Come on, let me think.
She looks familiar, but I couldn't tell you.
She
Kinda
does look
looks like
familiar.
Gala, doesn't it?
Gala.
But what's the H for? I don't know. Who,
Hub?
do you have a comment on that? Or?
No, didn't have anything on that one.
This is a lady that sold the plates.
Yeah. She's writing a receipt down right now.
You know, when we did the original podcast, we could have shown some of those plates. I've got a Southward plate, a Northward plate, Presbyterian Church plate.
I've got a
Yeah.
plate for all the buildings down, built houses.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we've got a few of those, Southward plate and
Well, what she holding looks like something from Germany. Or, yeah, that's the German eagle, isn't it? On their Deutschmark.
these are posted on Facebook's Remembering Tuscola. A couple of people said they think that's Charlotte wax.
Could be, blow that plate up she's holding. That is the German.
Wally Wax's mother.
See that? Isn't that the German eagle right there?
Looks like it.
Now, Sukensock,
Might be the wax.
Heffenswacker.
Oh, yeah.
Either that or a crab.
Uh, boy, that would be an old picture then.
That's
because
Wally's mom,
That's Wally's mother.
is it?
Possibly. She just passed away. Charlotte was her name.
Mhm.
She passed away. Wasn't she about 100?
Yeah, Wally's 80,
Yeah.
79,
She
80.
just, I think, passed away not that long ago.
Wow. Well,
Oh.
that's the backstake boogie. Over the right is
Shoemaker.
Alan Shoemaker. Who all was in his band?
That's taken at Gus's, and there's
Yeah.
a popcorn machine.
Yeah, backstake boogie.
Well,
the
got Pete Rotman and Kevin Gaddis. And that's confirmed by Kevin Gaddis. And Daryl Brewer says Michael Murphy, Pete Rotman, Kevin Gaddis, Alan Shoemaker, Airborne Rock Band. So was that the name of their band before?
Backstake boogie?
Yeah.
I don't know. They look
Love
like,
those bell bottoms.
looks like they should be in Saturday Night Live
Mhm.
with Vinny,
The hair and the
the pants.
pants give it away.
And the puka beads.
Mhm.
Well, looks
And
like
back in-
everybody's grandma.
Everyone's grandma. And back in the old days, they called those, didn't they call them
Doilies.
doilies?
Doilies.
Doilies, yeah.
Put
They
those
still
on
they
the-
still call them doilies.
Well, I know that if I lean back against one, you could wring it out for a quart of oil.
There you go.
I don't know. I don't have a name on that one.
Okay,
Oh,
there we
Sherm.
go. There's Sherman Marsh. The guy on the left is Howard Kogel, I think.
Bowling alley.
That's the bully. That's Howard Kogel on the left, I
But who
think.
is that guy in the center?
Howard's brother was mayor of Charleston.
Looks like somebody won a bet.
Well, they bet a lot down at the bowling alley. We should know the guy in the middle. Isn't that Howard Kogel? Am I wrong on that?
That's what Sub Connor says.
Yeah.
Sherm's got on the big ring.
Look at that tie.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. We got on the left, I don't know, Bobby Stallsworth, Tom Powell, Bill Alexander, blank. And looks like Ray Carlson. We slide over a little bit. Ray Carlson.
Ray Carlson.
Don't know who the guy on the left is or the second one in from the right.
Bill Alexander was a heck of a baseball player.
Yes, he was. And if you knew Bill, you knew the kids.
Mhm. He was really a nice man.
Nice guy. Ran the
Nice,
cleaners.
yeah,
Ran the cleaners
yeah.
down there just south of.
Is the image of us blocking your view because you can move that.
Well, let me try. I don't want to. You know, I'm afraid if I touch the computer, the world will explode.
It should be when you hover over it, should be a black bar that pops up. And you grab that black bar and move it.
On the far left. Is that the ball? Oh, hey,
There we go.
we moved it.
A little bit. Harry Forrester in the middle, and oh, look at this! This
Oh
is a
my
great
gosh.
shot. Look at this.
What is this all
Well, in the
about?
back is Weaver and Smith,
Bob Weaver, Warren Smith,
and the other Weaver,
and the other Weaver
Glenn.
might be. That's Rose Forrester on the right of Harry.
To the far left looks like Bev Hastings. Don't know. Rose Forrester, Harry Forrester.
What the heck was this deal?
Oh, this is were they all Catholics?
Looks like a Christmas party of some sort.
What's Harry got in his mouth? Is that a
Cigar.
Like a cigar.
well? Look at that. There's your patron saint.
Yeah.
You I forgot Rose was a pretty woman, and of course that's why
Our daughters are
Nancy
beautiful.
was- yeah,
All the girls are
all the
beautiful.
girls were pretty.
Gary was not pretty. Gary.
No,
There they are. Warren Smith and
I'd say
Harry.
this is a party at a house.
Yeah, I'm trying to guess who's is that the
Don't know. We weren't invited.
well, there is
I had no idea.
Art Finkelstein.
I had no idea.
Community building. Okay, zero in. That is Carolyn and Mary Jane Jackson.
Yes, it is.
Carolyn is now Carolyn Morris. Mary Jane Oh, it was a McFadden, and I don't know what it is right now.
Bill McFadden.
She married Bill, and then she's married Jane. I forget her last name now. Anyway, that was the Jackson girls. I think their dad came to the plant USI in the
Gene
50s.
Jackson was his name. He
Came-
was a maintenance
Came
supervisor.
to the plant, lived on East Scott Street down by the cemetery. Carolyn was, Mary Jane was cheerleader in 59. I think Carolyn was a cheerleader in 60, married Phil Morris, class of 60. Okay, there's Ray Carlson sitting there
And Bill Roach.
and Bill Roach. We've talked about Bill before.
Yes. This thing alive on this
No,
woman's shoulders.
no, it jumped on her when she walked in.
Well,
That's
first
back when
goal.
People used to have those things.
Looked like a couple of cigar boxes and muffin tins.
They've got change in those.
That was high tech. Back in
That
those
was,
days,
that's
that was high
pretty, yeah,
tech.
it's AI.
Nothing
it-
like an El Producto cigar box.
Right.
Okay, on the upper right is Carolyn Jackson again, Carolyn Morrison. On the left is Mary Jane Jackson, her sister. Down left is
Aunt Mary Ann Holstein.
Mary Ann Holste, and that looks like in the middle top from
Yeah.
Bourbon is Thelma Jensen.
Pam's grandmother.
Thelma Jensen from
Or is she,
Bourbon.
that's
No.
her aunt.
That's her aunt.
Yeah. that's her
Wayne
aunt.
Jensen. She was married to Wayne Jensen. He got killed when his house blew up in a gas explosion back in the early 80s. Don't know the girl on the lower right.
Well, Dorothy Fielder says, is that Mrs. Carpenter?
No,
No, I don't
No,
think so.
no, it's not. I believe Mike's right.
Kelly Schultz Woodington says, Barb Thompson, is that your grandma Thelma in the back? Looks like her.
Yep.
Barb Thompson says it is.
Yep.
Thelma Jensen, great gal, lived down big city of Bourbon, where my mom came from. Mom was a good friend of Thelma and Wayne. The basement of a church, maybe.
It almost looks like Mrs. Helm, the librarian. doesn't it?
Doris Helm, the librarian back in the 60s, but I don't know. Could be. Oh, boy. There was the, let me think for a second. That's either USI or that's not the hospital. The original hospital plan was for about a 5-story building, then it went down to
That might be the
3.
original.
Well, it's inside USI, but the thing says it is the proposed geriatrics and rehabilitation hospital in Sullivan.
wow. Is that the one out in the country?
I
Out
don't
east of
know if it
town, a
was-
couple miles?
Ever built.
Yeah. A lot of plans. Well, that's
I don't know.
some Illinois
Don't
coach.
I don't
have
even
names
know
on
what
the people, but Eric Alexander said the player on the poster might be John Fuzzy Evans, who went on to coach University of Vermont basketball.
Well, that's good. He blew right by Bill and I.
You might want to coach the Illini on how to inbounds the ball.
Well, they ran out of timeouts, didn't they?
Yeah, ran out of timeouts. That wasn't good.
Well,
Meal looks pretty good.
is
Did
this
they
a
have
USI?
pie?
Is this USI cafeteria?
Yeah, some of these are USI pictures, so it may be.
It looks like USI cafeteria. Back there is they kept track of the days of injuries and people off work, and looks like the cafeteria. That was inside their main building. There's a big wig.
Yeah, I don't have any names on these.
Trying to see
I
somebody there.
don't think you
recognize.
would.
I don't think
They came in from New York.
peons weren't allowed there, I don't think. We ought to recognize somebody here.
That guy there looks familiar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't have any names.
My goodness. The lady in the center with the glasses looks familiar, and
Yeah, comments online say they are the kitchen help at USI, but don't have the names.
Yeah. Well, they hired people all around the county. Well, that's not the kitchen help.
No,
That's not even the waitresses, I don't think. I bet they were guests for,
they're all dressed alike.
well, I think they had some big grand opening and these were the
Well, yeah, but
chaperones.
why would they dress alike?
Maybe the Dione sisters. Who was that singing group for girls? What were those girls called? The McGuire sisters?
McGuire.
Plus one?
Always good to pose them in front of a cigarette machine.
Well, back in those days,
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the high mucky muck at
I'd say
USI.
that's the big boys there.
I do have some names on this one.
Well, that looks like Mr. Kleiss. Is that Mr. Kleiss? in the
That's
back?
Helen Sanderson
Second from the left, Helen Sanders, that Mr.
in the
Kleiss in the
back
back.
row. Might be a Kleiss. Well, yeah, because that's a Kleiss next,
Yeah.
right there next to Helen.
That Herman?
Go ahead and give him.
Janice Moody says, Liz Hausman, question mark, Louise Hausman, question mark, back row, Norma Kleiss, Ruth Ann Hausman, Vanjie Kleiss, Henry Kleiss, question mark, Gert Finley, and Clarice Hausman.
That's Clarice with dark hair.
Jackie Brookins says probably 40 Martyrs turkey dinner at the community building.
Well, we've outlawed that.
Back before the health department shut it down for killing all of us.
That does look like Helen, but it's one of the Hausmans, you said.
That's what she said.
Vanjie Kleiss lived down there on the corner of Sale and Carrico, right? On that corner at one time.
Like USI again, I don't have names. The guy on the far left in the back looks like Floyd the Barber from the Andy Griffith Show.
It is. Well, yeah, yes.
Oh,
Go back that one before.
This one?
Yeah. No, I thought I saw Harley Teal there, but that's not him. Yeah. Oh, there's Kathy
boy,
Rice.
Kathy Rice,
Yeah.
class of 65.
She just, here. Where's my phone?
That's the greatest class alive.
Yes, it still is. I'm glad you're starting to recognize that.
By the way, that's from prom, her senior year. And that's at the community building, and yours truly had a role in that.
Just a second, Kathy Rice, I'll give you an update here. Kathy lives out in California, fell and got hurt. She just sent a note back to class saying better, but it's going to be a slow process. Good news, I don't have any surgery on the arm. Bone already shown signs of healing. We'll have home PT 4 weeks, x-rays, 4 weeks outpatient, pelvic fracture has to heal slowly, limited walking, a lot of boring rest, less pain, going in the right direction. There's Kathy's latest. You heard it
There
fresh.
you go.
Oh,
The next one's interesting.
oh,
180 years.
I was there. Here's a
Oh,
picture.
did you go to the sale?
Yeah, there it is.
Another
Okay.
one of the
You,
USI pictures.
Mitch, Taylor, Trotz, and
Yeah.
Jim Wright.
Yeah.
180 years in the farm.
Yeah, I called Dave, you gonna be able to get a little story out of that Reader farm?
Gonna try to.
He was a good guy. So was his sis. There's Jim Ryan on the left, back when they owned the,
That's a Ryan family.
that's Ryan family. Was it Monkey Ward? So there's the mayor. Fourth one in is Mayor
Doc
Burns.
Burns. Yeah,
First one in is the youngest Ryan boy.
that's Dennis.
Dennis. There's the dad.
Jim.
Is that? I don't know. Who that
I
is.
don't know who that
Mayor
is.
Burns, Mary Kay.
Mary Kay Ryan.
Fifth one in.
Kevin is a tall fellow in the back.
Over to the right is
Not sure.
that a Wetzel?
Don't know.
Got names?
Just some of the ones you already mentioned. Susie Ford said Sears question mark. Did they have the
Sears?
Sears?
Yeah, there was a Monkey Ward too. Sears was downtown. That's about where near Farm Bureau, isn't it? Wasn't that where Sears was?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Possibly.
That is Bonnie Hanners. From
Bonnie
my
Hanners.
class. her older sister Judy is married to Clayton Harris here in town.
Where's Bonnie now?
I don't know. I've lost track of Bonnie. And there is Fabian at 80.
Should know that old boy.
Oh, that's
Man, he sure looks familiar.
he does.
I got the feeling this is some sort of church deal.
Looks like a basement again. Wow.
Don't have any names yet.
Oh, now the center guy is
Oh, that's
Clark Fullerton.
Clark Fullerton on the elevator here.
See, he had a bad
Arm.
bad arm,
Yeah.
left arm.
Alan Nisher says, Mr. Fox, Clark Fullerton, and question mark.
Clark.
Didn't this guy work at the post office?
I think he did. Clark's boy was Herbie, I think, wasn't it? Herb Fullerton,
Grandson.
grandson.
Well,
That's his son.
he had Herbie and then Herbie
Young
Jr.
Herbie. Yeah.
Herbie Jr. played football with Caleb, a little running back.
Okay, Bill, you got to jump in here. This
Boy,
one.
I just don't know.
Names, David?
I don't have any names on that one.
Okay.
That's Rex Carmack on the right.
Who's the minister there? The minister's the next one, I think.
Well, would that be which church is it?
Well, that's not Methodist, it doesn't look like, is it? It's not your church.
It's not next to Rex's house. Doesn't look familiar.
That old Lutheran church next to Rex's?
Yeah, it's not that. And it's not down the street at the United Church of Christ.
Well, it could be the church next to Rex's.
Well, I don't think so because I was married in that church. I went to church there.
Oh, you did?
That was the original Lutheran.
I've yet to see, you've talked about all your churches. I have yet to see a picture of you in a church.
Well, they forgot to take it.
I know, I'm not sure you really went. I think that girl right there is Sharon Copeland. Right here. Sure looks like her.
Looks like her. Bud McMorris in the back.
Bud
smoking a
McMorris
cigarette.
smoking a cigarette in the community
Jack
building.
Wellens.
Happy Jack Wellens, Fat Jack Wellens, we used to call him.
Yeah.
On the left, and then Bud McMorris sold State Farm. Both of his boys sell State Farm, Danville and Charleston. And that's you showing how you dunked it at Oakland. Is that Sharon?
Anders says front left is Ann
Oh, that's Hoke.
Clifford.
Ann Hoke, Ann Clifford.
Okay.
And that's Sharon Copeland next to her. Sharon was a beautiful girl.
Sharon used to watch the podcast, I think.
She did. We ran her off. Well,
No idea.
these are Tuscola guys.
I don't know if it is
They
or
got
not.
me. They got me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Name?
I don't have any on that
Chubb
one.
Connor doesn't know anybody. They're not Tuscola. There's the second one from the left is
Marcia
Marcia Graham,
Graham.
Miss Tuscola. And there's Thelma Jensen again in the white hat. Got those cat's eye glasses that were popular back in the 50s, 60s.
Do you have any names on this? I'm curious.
Yeah, Sharon Cappy said Marcia Graham sitting, which you had, and then Janice and Jeff Hutchcraft said, is that Grandma Hackett? Barb Thompson says, yes, it is.
Who's the gal on the
Mary
left?
Hatfield says Thelma Jensen, second from right. And
Who's the
Pam
gal on the
McDowell
left?
gave it a thumbs up.
Gal on the left looks familiar.
Almost looks like Huber, doesn't it? Bill's wife.
You know,
Susie?
it does, doesn't it?
Susie Huber. Is that Susie Huber on the left?
Well, nobody has said that, and a lot of the Hubers go through
Watch.
pictures.
Really would get it. Okay, next.
Zero in on that award. I'd like that's USI again. Zero in on that award. That's the can you blow that up?
Certificate of Merit.
Merit.
That looks like quite a fancy
What
logo
the-
there.
What is that thing?
That's their blob. Was that he made the best
There was
spaghetti?
there was a movie called the Blob.
Yeah, Steve McQueen. It came through the projector up in the projection room.
David Ken Coy says the man standing on the left is the late Keith Dagg,
Dagg.
Dagg from the Hugo area.
Yeah.
And Steve Raridan says first person seated in the back is Elmo Pearson.
Is that Bo?
Bo. It is. It looks like Bo.
Well, he's got a big black head of hair. Bo used to always had silver fox hair.
Bo likes to play golf.
And Danny Matthews and Steve Connor Sr. say that's a Shure 55 microphone.
Yeah.
Apparently they recognize the microphone.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Marianne Holsty again on the right. Jane Dunn in the middle. That is Gates. Married Jim Mann. Carol Gates.
That's Jan right there.
The girl in the middle is Jane Dunn, Weish Dunn's older sister. Jan Charnetsky, Allison Seed, second from the left. And I think the one on the left is, what is that, Judy Heckler?
Possibly. You
Marianne
got
Holsty-
Marianne,
Marianne
then
Holsty
you
on the
Marianne
right.
Holsty on the right.
I'm pretty sure that's Carol Gates. What you
Sir,
doing with your finger?
Oh, I'm just pointing out
Oh, that's
things.
Carol. Okay.
Yeah.
those are the names I have online.
Yeah. Brenta Stewart Bunning in the middle
Nita Bozarth on the right.
and Jane Rothgab on the left.
left.
Jane Rothgab on the left.
Is
Stop.
that Brenda Stewart though?
Yeah, go back. Brenda Stewart Bunting, I think.
So
That's about
Sharon
right.
Cappy says.
Yeah.
Okay. Next,
That's looks like, is that Bushu in the middle?
it looks like Carol Letzweiler.
Carol Letzweiler Bushu.
That's isn't that
Oh.
Ronnie Cooper's mother?
It looks like Ronnie Cooper's mother. I forget her name. What was her name?
And that's Gobble. That's Virginia Gobble.
Virginia Gobble. She
on the left.
just passed away. She's in your newspaper. Well, no, she passed away back in
I
4
forget.
or 5 years ago.
Possibly. But that looks like Ronnie's mother. But that
What was
does
her
look
name?
like Carol.
Carol Bushu in the middle.
Carol was a wonderful teacher, a
Etzweiler.
wonderful educator.
Her brother, Big Red Etzweiler. We always joke about back in high school, there was almost always a small guy that was real mouthy and combative and wanted to fight. And behind every one of those guys was a Red Etzweiler or a Don Fortney or
Mark Bright.
Mark Bright. There was always a giant walking around with them. Did you have a giant walk around with you?
Okay.
The one on the
Okay.
left looks familiar, but I could.
Paul Bretts.
Unknown caller.
We just got zoomed out.
I shut my phone off.
Zoomed out. I can still see you. Are you still here?
Well, I can see you too on our little screen, but our picture screen.
I gotta shut my phone off here.
So are you not able to see the pictures then?
Well, we're just
Oh,
trying to get,
we'll get it here in a second. Hang on.
A little technical difficulty, a little timeout.
Well, AI. By the way, the guy on the left is Paul Bretts, prominent farmer from Builder Grove area.
Okay.
I'm trying to pull my picture back here and get it bigger, just a second. Now let me get rid of the Zoom thing here. Maybe that'll help it. No, that didn't do anything.
All right, we got it.
Okay.
David, can you hear us?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're back to seeing your pictures.
I've got names on this one, but give you guys a chance first.
Well, thanks for the chance. No, I'm sorry, I don't know. Did you see Doc Gailey died?
Yeah. Morris. Looks like Gal Pasodum. Can't think of her name.
According to Carol Hausman and Janice Moody and Debbie Carter, that is Gert Kleiss Finley and Clarence Finley.
Yeah. Gert was from Basotto.
And that's it.
That was it?
Oh,
That's it
man,
for
we
this
got
week.
100% today. Almost.
What did we get?
That last picture we missed.
98. Well, we knew they were Basotto.
Yeah, well, you're right.
What did we get? 97, Dave? 98? What do you grade
You
us
were
on?
you were way up there.
Well, I'll tell you, when the Eric Alexander starts going back to
Hmm.
picking out a poster 1930 football player and talking about he coached basketball somewhere and his 3 kids live in Michigan, Canada, and Europe, that's getting good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Eric is a historian.
Is he? What are Bill and I?
Did he run the bar down at,
You guys are just historic.
does he still run that bar down at Arthur?
I don't know. I know he was an Arthur, but
Used to be the old
Heidelberg?
Heidelberg, one of the best restaurants in the area was the old Heidelberg. And I think Eric took that over some time ago, but I have no idea.
I think his family still has that house on Main Street.
They
Yes,
do.
the Kahneman. Bill jumped out of that garage back there. Bill jumped
I,
out
I
of
ran into him a while back, and he says it's interesting. Some people call it the Kahneman house. Some people call it the Brannick house. He says the Alexanders have lived there longer than anybody, and nobody calls it the Alexander house.
well, they gotta wait till they move away or die.
Yeah,
like
they'll call it the Alexander house in a
Yeah,
10 or
give it-
20 years, probably.
time.
Well, you call the house by your era.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
growing
here.
up, right? You know.
Yeah, when I was young, the Brannicks lived there.
Yeah.
Well, that's where Rick
I
Kahneman,
remember when the Brannigs lived
1950s
there.
and 60s, Rick Kahneman ran the Kahneman Army on the north side of Tuscola.
Jerry and Joyce have lived there a long time.
They have.
But
And then-
historically, it's the Nat Irvin House, for whom the park is named. That's
Bill's-
where Nat, or they call him Nat or Grat Irvin.
Bill's told the story many times to belong to the Kahneman Army on the north side. And Bill, you had to go up into that garage on the alley, second floor,
Coach house.
coach house, jump
Coach
out of
house,
the
yeah.
table onto the alley, jump about 15 feet. That's how Bill tore his legs up.
Rick made everyone jump.
Yeah,
Well, he thought it was funny if you got hurt.
yeah. Rick was a fascist.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You did goose step. He did have leather boots to
Oh,
his
man, I'm
knees,
telling you.
and he would goose step.
And we were going up against Carmack's Army.
Well, I was in Carmack's Army, ragtag bunch of little rascals with Craig Webb, and
Yeah,
we were no match.
no.
We were no match. We were guerrilla warfare against your organized marching. David, you get plenty of sleep last night?
I did. You guys keep talking. I'm looking for a picture here.
Well, show us one. We're ready.
Well, I haven't found it yet, so you're gonna
He's
have
got
to
one
wait a
more.
minute. You're gonna have to fill the airspace while I look.
That house, and then Stan Cross, the house right behind him, where Scotty Day and
Kirsten.
Day live, was Stan Cross's. Who lived there before Stan Cross?
I can't remember, but next to it was where the
Hollands.
Hollands lived.
Marie
Joe Holland.
Marie
Joe
Holland
and
from
Marie.
my class, the beautiful Marie Holland.
She was a pretty girl.
Oh, she's beautiful. And then Joe, who was not beautiful.
Yeah, right. Her brother.
And once again, they came from Ashtabula, Ohio. How do you pronounce that? Ashtabula, Ohio. Ashtabula, Ohio. And they came once again for USI. We picked up, I tell you what, we had so many kids from USI in that class. It's unbelievable. I'd say a third of our class were USI kids. What about your class? How many were USI?
Oh,
You had Lassiter.
we could just go through there. Sometime we'll do that when we're bored.
pick out the hard hats.
Pick out the hard hats.
Yeah, and some stayed and became. Now this house we're in right now, I think, is known as the Carroll House.
Yeah, I believe so, because you're the only one that's lived in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. David smoked that cigar all the way down.
Mhm. You know, we've lived in our house almost
We've been here,
38 years.
we built this in 97, so what are we?
I found it.
27 years we've lived here.
You want us to identify it?
Yeah, that's Gert. Better not
You
be
see it?
blackface.
Are
No,
you're not able to
We
see it?
no,
Says David Porter has started screen sharing.
Well, let me, I'm using two different screens here. Let me move it to the primary screen.
David, you need any pictures of the plant being torn down, Mike?
I do. need
Out there
pictures.
last week. But it's completely gone now.
oh, yeah. The office building's gone.
Mhm.
There it is. That's the
Oh,
coach
hey,
house.
there it is.
See, and now in the back, in the
On the
alley,
back, yeah.
there was a little door where they loaded the hay and they fed the horses. They fed the horse.
Bob Kahneman had a putting green out there.
Yeah.
How many of those old coach houses are still around?
Oh, there's
Uh,
7.
There's one on sale behind Winans' house.
Yeah, right. That's a great one.
Does Carson have one behind his right down the,
Bill,
they'll have one.
I don't know. Did McCarty's have one?
Yes.
Bill
Cunningham.
and Carol?
A
Cunningham.
lot of people that built what I call the arts and crafts style house, which is 1920s, 30s was big arts and crafts. The Alexander house would be one. Doc Cunningham's house would be one. Bill Carson's house would be one.
And there's a brick garage behind where Hayes lived. Is that a coach house?
Hayes.
Yeah, you're talking about down by Casey's, that
Scott
Spanish-
Street, maybe?
Spanish
Yeah.
Rook house. That's is that Van Allen and Niles? Van
That could
Allen,
be Van Allen.
Scott. It's either Scott or Van Allen.
Mhm.
Next to where where Kidwell's have their little 2-story restaurant kind of thing next to Casey's.
Mhm.
It's that red brick house with the Spanish green roof tile. I think it's got a coach house behind it.
Oh,
It's got a
yeah,
brick coach house behind
where
it.
the former principal lived.
Right.
Right. What's his name?
Was it Fiskus?
Fiskus. Fiskus lived there.
Yeah, Fiskus, Steve Fiskus.
Yeah. I don't know what to name that. I think
That was Matthias' house.
Matthias owned there. Jet McCumber lived there. What do we call that house?
A house,
House?
brick.
Like the Cunningham house. Will the Cunningham house always be the Cunningham house?
It will
till we
to
die?
us, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Porter lives in the Porter house, as far as I know.
Last time we checked.
Who built your house? Who lived there
I-
before?
I have no idea.
There you go.
Oh, my wife lived here before I lived here.
I mean, she bought it.
That was the Eaton house.
Was that where
Irv Eaton lived
Irv
there.
lived there?
Mhm. Where
Raised all
David
those
is.
kids? How many kids
Yeah.
did he raise there? 2 boys? Three
Oh,
boys
there's more than,
and a girl?
But Jenny's had this house for almost 30 years.
Well, you've definitely got squatters' rights on one room.
Mm-hmm. This is the only room I'm allowed in.
Yeah. So she lets you smoke in the house, doesn't she?
Yeah, in this room. This room was added on, so it's not really part of the main house. So the smoke doesn't.
had on because of the trophies. They had so many
Dave
plaques.
and his cigar.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Every man needs a room like that, David.
it's my man cave.
Terrific.
So
Well-
in my office, this is where I work.
Well, I was in the, I went down to drop off that Reader Farm brochure. It gave some history there.
Okay.
Dominic said you just went down to Gus's. I did not see your car anywhere.
It's parked behind the building.
Oh, okay. So then I said, are you sure? And he and some other gal came out and they both started laughing. They said, don't hold us to it. 2:00.
I'm there maybe once a week.
You're just more productive, right? at
I'm
home?
going in this afternoon.
Can you get a lot of work done there or you better at home?
Better at home.
You can smoke at home.
Yeah, I can smoke a cigar at home.
Why'd they switch sides? Better restroom?
It's newer, nicer.
Yeah, the old one was pretty ratty in the back.
Mm-hmm.
The old Strand Theater.
But if you know someone who wants to start a business downtown, we've got a storefront available for them.
The old review office.
Come talk to me.
How about the back? You got the back, you got a,
Well, we still use a lot of it, so it'd be kind of shared space. Need some updating. But I'm thinking that it'd be a nice little business incubator for someone to start a business, and then maybe if they grow and succeed, they move somewhere else, put somebody else in.
Boy, the Evans boy sure made that building nice for the vacuum shop, didn't he?
wow. Yeah,
We
that-
kind of
that-
talked about that, remember?
That was the golf course, the golf course up at Savoy. Who runs that?
Rodums.
Rodham's. During the COVID thing, all the businesses got this big PPP money.
Yeah.
Hell, golf courses made billions of dollars. Nobody could work. They all went out and played golf. And they said, be outside. Don't get in a. This golf course had its best year during COVID. But they bought a couple buildings and fixed them up. They did a great job on that building. I've never been in there since it's been fixed up. Have you been in
It
there?
looks nice. No, I needed to take something there, and I will.
Does he work on anything besides vacuum cleaners?
I'm not for sure. I don't.
Not that I know of. We've taken our vacuum there.
That's what we need, though, a den of iniquity for these young people.
We need a pool hall. No cussing. Bill and I still got the signs from
Signs.
Jake
yeah.
Hall's pool hall.
No cussing allowed.
No cussing allowed, which is that's kind of an oxymoron.
Wake up, Jake.
No gambling, no smoking.
Oh,
Okay.
it
No
was-
cheating, no cheating,
No, nothing.
no fudging on your snooker shots. Yeah,
Clean restroom.
they just used to have just a toilet stand out there in the middle of a dark old room, looked like your chamber of horrors. Then the back fell off the toilet, so they just had the toilet, and then the toilet was gone, and they had a hole in the floor.
On the floor.
It was a class act. And if
Yeah.
you could roll of toilet paper somewhere, you're a better man than I. No, you didn't stay too long at the pool hall. You went up and asked Warren Smith if he could use his restroom.
When I was a young man, the pool hall was on South Central.
Oh, Hoot
Hoots.
Yeah, Hoot Weitzel.
Weitzel bought Jake out and he moved the tables down there.
First of all, moved to MacArthur.
Moved him to Arthur on the corner there where the railroad track is on the north side of the road. I remember Hoot came in for a legal problem. Hoot was a good old guy. Hoot had this problem of loaning these guys money. And he came in for collection. And I said, I'll tell you what, Hoot, right now, I promise to do all your legal work, rest of your life,
Sell me that.
if I could have a
table.
snooker table.
Yeah.
He said, I don't think so, So next 3, 4, 5 years, Hoot had a workman's comp case. He had this, he had that. He said, Carol, damn, what a stupid decision I made. I should have given you that snooker table. I said, I tried, Hoot. God, those are good snooker
That
tables.
snooker table was built in 1941 in St. Louis.
Well, that's right. They had those.
They were quality tables in there for
Oh,
sure.
the slate was probably what, 2 inches thick?
Uh-huh.
You'd have to have Chuck Durnell and five other guys to move the slate,
At least,
and Chuck's gone.
yeah.
Well,
Too many are gone.
too many.
I'm still trying to figure out this first grade math deal. And these students from Oakwood going to Springfield to the state capitol, that says something.
Bill
Wow.
tell the readers your story about your daughter-in-law.
Well, very simply, could not do a math problem in the first grade for her son, not do it the right way. And
And
she
what-
didn't
And
understand
what
it.
was her,
Her background is she's an accounting graduate from the University of Illinois, and she's also a CPA employed by the university and accounting department.
do they know she can't do first grade math? Is that gonna,
That's
they're gonna affect her
isn't
pay?
that something? She had to call someone. Everyone's stymied by this. And we keep hearing these reports. So these Oakwood kids in junior high, they carried it all the way to the state capitol.
Hmm.
It's 2
I
+
saw
2.
them on TV.
Yeah, they were on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's
David,
different.
since Bill and I graduated, it seems to everything's gone downhill. What do you think? Or is that just us that have gone downhill?
Well, we're sliding.
We're down that hill pretty good, aren't
We're
we?
down that hill pretty good.
But David makes me feel good saying that we got 97% right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first grade math.
You know
Oh,
what?
it really
Yeah,
is.
that is.
It really is 31.
Actually, we don't do too bad on some of those pictures, recognizing people.
What are you firing up there,
What
David?
happens if
This is a HC cigar.
Boy.
I don't know. What should I do next? I got
Well,
You
the
got-
HC looks like a nice mild one. Oh,
Yes.
CAO, that's Maduro.
CAO cigar and
I would go with the, Cohiba. Oh my God. I'd probably go with you've already had it. I'd go with that mild Connecticut wrapper.
is that what Boyle smoked at Cohiba?
Yeah. I like that Connecticut wrapper, kind of a more mild cigar, about a number 2 or 3. You probably like a 4 or 5 though, don't you?
well, I like them all.
I was going to say, I've never seen you throw one away yet.
No,
You and Mark Twain.
not too many. I don't. Mark Twain smoked the nastiest, darkest cigars he could find and the cheapest cigars he could find.
Yeah.
One of his quotes is he went to a cigar shop. He said, pretty nice cigar shops. They've got some really good 5-cent cigars. Trouble is they want 10 cents for them.
What this country needs is a good dime cigar for a nickel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Swisher Sweets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gus used to sell those.
Mark Twain smoked about 10 cigars a day.
But he did remember his iron fast rule, he never smoked more than one at a time.
And never while he was sleeping.
Yeah.
He
Anybody ever
said,
tell you ride a lot like Twain? You ever been, anybody tell you you have a Twainish twang to your writing?
no one's ever told me that, no.
Well, somebody has now.
Yeah. How many cigars did Winston Churchill smoke a day?
He chewed them a lot.
Did he?
Yeah.
Mark Twain also said, quitting is easy. I've done it hundreds of times.
Yeah. Is that where the Churchill, short 50 gauge cigars at Churchill? They come from Winston's?
Yeah. Named after Winston Churchill.
That is a good size little cigar.
Yeah, Churchill is as you know a size, but there's no standardization in the industry. So you may get a Churchill that's 8 inches long. You may get a Churchill that's 6 inches long. There's nothing standard.
Where'd Rothschild come from? I assume Baron von Rothschild.
I don't know. That's a brand name.
There's no Carroll I do have cigarettes out in the garage. I got a pack of Carroll cigarettes from Ireland. Someone brought me.
Yeah.
And I love the Irish warning label. It says, warning, smoking cigarettes will kill you. I thought they got right to it, didn't they?
I've got a pack of, it's empty, but you brought me from Italy a pipe tobacco in a pouch from Italy.
Did I ever give you the scorecard from the country club at Terenia I played?
I think you gave me, yes, I think you did.
I gave you all my scorecards, didn't I?
Yeah, I had several scorecards.
Yeah.
I've got scorecards from all over the world. Several people have brought back scorecards.
So David, are you done for the week now? I mean, you rest up till Friday or Saturday or whenever?
Well, I've got some work to do this week. Working on the election booklet for the county clerk. So got to take that to her to get approved. So that's why I got to go in this afternoon, print them off.
We better let you get to work.
David, thanks.
All right.
Again, thanks for letting us share these wonderful photos. I was talking to Gail Reeder and his sister graduated in about 5960. And you talked to her there.
Mm-hmm.
She said she looks at these old pictures.
Yeah, they're popular. So All right, we'll see you next
Later.
week. Remembering Tuscola.
Bye, David.